Alright guys, this is my last night in the 2018 Jeep Wrangler Sport. It's been a fun week in this thing. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. Let's take it for a drive and we'll talk about that. If you want to know some of my more driving impressions and just kind of ideas of what this thing is like to drive, check out my other video on my POV first impressions, where I go over some more stuff in just a little bit more detail. But today I kind of just wanted to talk about what this thing is like to live with and why I do like it, and I think it still has a very relevant place in the market. You know, this Jeep it's kind of unlike anything else being sold today. It's a little bit of a throwback. It's a little bit old school. It has a very loyal and very devout following of consumers and people and enthusiasts, but it also has a very wide appeal, and a lot of people buy these. They buy into the brand, they buy into the look, the feel, the culture. There's a lot that you're buying into when you get a Jeep, and it's a little bit of a lifestyle. It's just a little bit of a fashion statement these days too. And the more I've driven this week, the more I've noticed just how many Wranglers are on the road. And it's pretty surprising because they're a little bit different from every other car out there. I would say, you know, this is definitely the most livable Wrangler yet. It rides great. I think this is a great spec with this manual transmission. It has pretty much everything you need, nothing you don't. I'd probably opt for the hardtop instead of the ragtop, or maybe even just both. It's a pretty minimal expense to add the ragtop on underneath the hardtop. It'd be kind of nice to have that option to take the roof off every now and then in the summer. But I get it. I think I understand why these have such a high appeal. There's a huge aftermarket. There's a lot of modifications you can do to these. They become incredibly capable off-road. Even this bare bones base model, without locking differentials, will probably get you through just about everything you need to off-road, unless if you're doing some pretty serious wheeling. Yeah, it doesn't have locking diffs, but chances are it's going to do the trick. The size of these Jeeps, their short wheelbase, just makes for a really compelling off-road vehicle. And I'm happy to say that finally on road, they have really pretty nice manners. So probably the biggest takeaway from this week just is that this Jeep is it sounds a little bit overly romantic, but it's kind of it's a little bit more. It adds up to be a little bit more than the sum of its parts. There aren't a lot of cars out anymore that have as much personality as this does, but that's what makes it interesting, and that's what makes it fun. And that's probably the best word to describe this. Is this thing is fun. People like it. It gets some attention. You can do the Jeep wave to just about every Jeep driver who drives past you, and they'll wave back. That's a pretty unique thing in the automotive space. The only other wave that I know of that's that frequent is the Miata wave. And I would say the Jeep wave probably trumps that, just in sheer frequency. But this thing is actually pretty good to drive. I've really warmed up to it over this week, and you know, it's not precise. There's no steering feel. There's no brake feel. The ride is very livable. It definitely feels like you're driving a Jeep. Definitely feels like you're driving a truck. But it's okay. It's nice. There's quite a bit of wind noise from the fact that there isn't a hard top. And you know, there are some rattles and creaks and shakes around here, but it all kind of adds everything that isn't good about this Jeep, or I'm not going to say good, but let's say normalized about this Jeep, just adds to its character. and I think as a result adds to its appeal. There aren't really a lot of cars made these days, at least in this price point, that make you feel special, that kind of give you just a little bit of an extra kick in your step, make you feel cool when you're driving down the road. This somehow does that, and I think I get it now. I didn't really expect to come away with that takeaway this week. Is the Jeep life for me? Probably not, but I can definitely see the appeal. And if you're thinking about one and you've always wanted one, this is a really good generation to go with, because I think you're giving up just a little bit less in terms of on-road comfort than you have in the past generations. Now, I'll be honest, I don't have a whole lot to compare this to. The last Jeep I drove was probably 6 or 7 years ago, and it was just a Wrangler Rubicon. It was good, but really it didn't have the best on-road manners, and this is definitely a step up from that. They're not cheap. This is base price on this is $27,000. As spec'd, this is about $31,000. It's a pretty decent chunk of change for what you're getting feature-wise. But like I said, it really kind of boils down to just a little bit more than that. You're buying into the brand, you're buying into the lifestyle, and you're getting a product that's just cool and that is really enjoyable. It may not be the highest quality or the best built or the best driving, but it really delivers more than that in a kind of a special way that is very unique, and I think as a result is very cool. So if Top Gear were still doing the cool wall, and if I had my own the toe for cool wall, this would be up there. This would be up there for sure. Let's do one quick pull, because this does have some pretty good power. Turn off stop start here. It's just silly. There are some interesting modern and like old school just contrasts in this. This stop start technology and push button start, but manual door locks. It's just kind of strange getting it out of that. And there's 60. This thing is fast. It's really quick. And it's relatively efficient too. And in two-wheel drive, I've been averaging around 19 miles to the gallon, at least according to the readout. If you're into getting a manual, I would definitely get the 6-speed. This is a good transmission. Shifter feel isn't particularly the best. I feel like this shift knob is big, and as a result feels a little bit cheap, but it's definitely more engaging and makes for a more entertaining drive overall. And it's a really easy stick shift to drive. If you're just learning to drive stick, this engine has a lot of torque. The clutch throw is easy to modulate. It's not that heavy. It's a great transmission for, it really suits the personality of this Jeep well. And I think it personally would make wheeling just a little bit more engaging and a little bit more fun. The last time I did some off-roading in one of these, it wasn't a manual transmission Jeep, and I really got a lot of enjoyment out of it. Just made it a little bit more difficult, and I appreciate that. All right, guys, well, that's going to sum it up. New Jeep Wrangler puts a smile on your face, makes you feel good, kind of gives you the feeling that you can tackle anything, and it's just cool. Put on some Bob Marley, ZZ Top, throw on the leather jacket, go for a drive. This definitely makes every drive just a little bit more entertaining, and I really appreciate that in any car that can pull it off. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys in another video. We've got a Jeep Compass coming in tomorrow, and then I'm doing some traveling for a couple weeks, going out to the Ford F-150 diesel launch in Denver, which should be pretty exciting, and bringing you some more truck action and just some other stuff in the coming weeks. So thanks again for all the support. Appreciate all the views and comments and interest in the videos. That's what keeps it happening. So anyway, guys, thanks again. We'll catch you in another video later. So old school, I love it.